Okay, everybody, welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. Me and Jeff are going over A Cold Day in Hell from 1997. We already did a match from this pay-per-view, and now we're moving on to the main event, which is Stone Cold Steve Austin versus the reigning champion, The Undertaker, for the WWE title. So, Austin cuts a promo to start this off, pretty much saying he's going to whoop everybody's ass, talking about the Hart Foundation, and then they flash back and show Raw, where Austin stunners The Undertaker, and then eventually The Undertaker gets back up and delivers a choke slam to Austin, and that's kind of how Raw ended the Monday before the pay-per-view. Sorry about the lighting today, guys. So Austin enters first, Taker enters second. They get face-to-face, and then out comes the Hart Foundation immediately. And they're saying they're just fans, so I don't get why they get to come down the entrance ramp, but for the show, I guess that's what they do. Not very realistic, but whatever. While Taker's distracted, Austin jumps Undertaker from behind. Starts him right hands on the Undertaker, who still has his jacket and his belt on. Has been unable to take that off. The match starts. Then Austin jumps outside and grabs Owen Hart and starts beating on Owen. Then Taker grabs Austin, chucks Austin into the steel steps on the outside. And then Then the Undertaker attacks the Harts as well, knocking eventually with the right hand Owen Hart, knocking him over the steel barricade back to the seat area. They go back in the ring. Taker does that vintage flying high clothesline he does. He gets a 2 count on that. Then he goes for old school, hits that. He gets a 2 count on old school. Austin eventually, thumb to the eye, does a head throw, takes Taker to the mat. And this time on the mat takes up a very large chunk of time. I'm talking probably close to 8 minutes of them just laying on the ground over and over. Taker would get up a little bit, Austin would throw him back to the ground, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to try to review everything that happened there, because it just wound up in the same spot with Austin with a headlock on the ground. So, but I do want to point out that in the middle of this, though, Jerry the King Lawler says that the crowd is being fickle. It's funny that he says that, because Daniel Bryan in the future makes an entire character based off saying the crowd is fickle. So it's just a little fun fact I wanted to point out. I don't know if Jeff caught it or not. Austin starts going to work on the Undertaker's knee. Taker reverses into the corner. Eventually, after Austin goes after his knee for a little while, and Undertaker reverses into the corner, starts hammering away on Austin. And Austin gets away, drags Taker to the outside and slams his knee around the post, and then jaws with the Hart Foundation at ringside. Then he goes to slam Taker's knee and do it again, and Taker uses his legs, pulls back with the strength of his leg, and pulls Austin straight into the steel post. But they get back in the ring, and Austin gets control again by going right back to work on the Undertaker's knee, and that's kind of where this match keeps going back to, is Austin working on the knee, and I think it's mainly because in storyline, Austin got a knee injury at WrestleMania, and people have been working on his knee a lot, so he's kind of just trying to return the favor to the champ. So Austin ends up putting an STF on the Undertaker, but the Undertaker gets to the rope. He goes back to work on the knee of the Undertaker, and then the Undertaker ends up shoving him over the top rope to the floor, and then he slams Austin into the steel steps on the outside. And then now they get back in the ring, and Taker starts working on Austin's knee. He ends up putting Austin into a half Boston Crab. Austin eventually gets out of that. Taker goes for a big boot. Austin ducks underneath the big boot and goes right back to the knee again. He picks Taker up, delivers a suplex. He gets a 2 count on that. Then Taker gets control. He does like a vintage Booker T high back kick to the face. I've never seen The Undertaker do that before. This was crazy. He was really bad at it, so that's probably why he never did it again. Then he goes for old school again, and Austin counter. Shocker. Again, I hate old school because it's so simple to counter. Even the most unconscious dude could be like, wiggle and like knock you off. Like, come on now. Austin goes for a superplex. Taker winds up countering with a front suplex off the top rope. Taker misses an elbow drop. Austin covers him, gets a 2 count on that. Taker goes to put a sleeper on Austin, but Austin counters into a modified stunner and gets a 2 count. Obviously not the full effect on that. Austin low blows the Undertaker, and the ref warns Austin. Then when the ref turns around, Austin flips him, then gives him a little push, and when he pushes him, Taker low blows Stone Cold. Taker then proceeds to choke slam Steve Austin, and Steve Austin rolls underneath the rope, and then he hangs up the Undertaker on the top rope, and gets in the ring and delivers the Stone Cold Stunner, and JR screaming, "It's over! It's over! It's over!" But Brian Pillman jumps in the ring and rings the ring bell. That can't be official, right? It's not. Earl Hebner starts yelling at Pillman, and then while he's doing that, the Undertaker sits up, and then Taker picks up Austin for a tombstone, and then Austin reverses that so that Undertaker's in the tombstone position, but then the Undertaker reverses that and then delivers the tombstone to Stone Cold for the 1, 2, 3. Taker wins and retains the WWE title. The Hart Foundation jumps in the ring and starts attacking the Undertaker. Austin notices a wheelchaired Bret Hart is sitting by himself now in the crowd. He jumps over the barricade, tips over Bret Hart in his wheelchair, grabs Bret Hart's crutch, gets in the ring, and him and the Undertaker clear the ring, starts whooping the Hart Foundation. Undertaker delivers a choke slam to Owen Hart, and then as they announce Undertaker's still the champion, he turns around and gets the stunner from Austin again, and that's kind of how everything ends. This match is very slow. I believe this match was really only put here kind of because Austin was white hot at the time, and Undertaker was the champion. They didn't want either one to really get hurt, so they had Austin get distracted and lose that way, so it's not clean. Sorry. This match pretty much was just here to enhance the story between the Harts and Austin and start a little something with the Harts and Taker. It did its job phenomenally, and for that I'll give it a little mark up. But the match itself was pretty meh. So I'll give it a 5.5 out of 10. It could have been a lot faster. Like I said, like half the match was spent with Austin in a headlock with Taker on the ground. And I know that matches can be technical at times and a little boring. That's fine. But when the one move takes up about half the match, that gets hard to bear for me. But the rest of the match outside of the headlock on the ground was pretty good. The way Austin worked over the knee on the Undertaker, and then the way Undertaker went back to the knee on Austin, the jarring with the Hart Foundation the entire time, like it's all perfect. It's all perfect for storyline purposes. So 5.5. I'm not really gonna recommend you guys to check out this match unless you guys want to be bored. But if you do want to follow the storyline between Bret Hart and Austin through the year of 97, then definitely include this match because it plays a big part here. So that's what I got for my review. We'll hear what Jeff has to say. Thank you, guys. Oh, next one we're doing is the finals of the 1997 King of the Ring between Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Mankind.